Hello there, I'm Linden Thorp, and this is Our Way, Our Wealth. I'm here every Saturday, and this is really tracking what's happening in the world of wealth and what's happening in the world of embodiment. So, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. And our topic today really relates to last week. We've been working on ideas of competitiveness and collaborativeness, which are true human nature. We had a debate in Embodiment Q&A yesterday, and then on Wednesday we mentioned it too indirectly in Your Body is Your Business Plan, the masterclass, when we talked about leadership, embodied leadership. They're all connected, you bet. Okay, so basically then, my claim is when you feel the urge to compete, interrupt, prove, or dominate, that's rarely true nature. It's your system trying to secure safety. Yeah, so today we're going to look at competitiveness or competition versus collaboration as body states, not moral positioning. And one sentence I'll leave you with right at the start of this is, by the end of this session, you'll leave knowing how to feel the shift and how to build a round table container in modern life. Yeah, and we have to remember that your nature, your true nature, shows up first in your body, in sensation, not in philosophy. That's a territory of the limited mind, the intellectual mind. But really, nature, your true nature, is in your body. It's in your emotions. It's in your invisible sector. So, yeah, my vision is that self-knowledge, self-reliance, and genuinely happy, balanced humans will populate the earth. And I'm also really keen on roundtable groups, which form naturally, each person a leader in their own right. And really, my definition of leadership is self-leadership is the only leadership. Roundtable is what happens when people are resourced and grounded. Okay, so welcome LinkedIn members and YouTubers. Basically, when we think of round table, many Europeans and perhaps English speakers in general think about no leadership because we think of the knights of the round table back in the medieval period, very devout Christian knights who protected the earth, protected Europe especially. And so, yeah, really, this idea, this way of being is so wonderful. Yeah. We're going to try in the round table protocol to remove the head of the table. There is no head of the table. Um, and so people don't need to fight for the best seat. And actually, that's how the Knights of the Round Table started. Um, the king was fed up of his knights trying to get the nearest seat to him to get his ear. So he introduced the idea that there would be no head of the table. Yeah, and really the principle is we remove all status triggers. We reduce the competition reflex, and then collaboration becomes so natural, so possible. So equalizing the seats around the round table reduces the scramble for significance. Okay, so yeah, basically, you've heard me say this before. There are two minds that I'm concerned with. One is the limited mind, and the other is the unlimited mind. Freud and so on will give these different names, but I'm using these because I think they're the clearest and they reflect body, spirit, and mind, very many minds. So, human beings in our natural state, we we lavish, no, we relax, we luxuriate in abundance, repair, creativity, reciprocity. Yeah, spirit plus body plus mind coherent. But the limited mind is all about comparisons, urgency, scarcity, attention. And these are really very negative uh, principles. And it's really very obvious to me that competition is often a symptom of threat, not of personality. And when safety returns, generosity returns with no effort. So, yeah, let's try it. Let's put it into practice. Put your hands on your ribs and make 5 breaths. And the exhale on each breath should be longer. Okay. And as you make these 5 breaths, and I'll do them with you, ask yourself, am I collapsing into threat or expanding into connection? Here we go. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the 5 breaths. So, your question, competition collapses time and collaboration expands time. Time is a concept, but When we're competitive, we collapse time. There's always a huge rush. Who's going to get there first? Who's going to, pass the finish line first? When we collaborate, we expand time. There are no deadlines. There's no race to be the first because we're all the first. And as a long-time educator, I've really witnessed this because all my classes were based on collaboration. And the cry was always, "Oh, we need more time," because people became so comfortable working together, groups, sharing, making time to listen to each other, being generous. And it's so true. Yeah, competition collapses the concept of time. So there is never enough. And it is therefore scarcity. There's never enough time. We are time scarce. But in collaboration, we expand time. There are no well, if there are deadlines, they're not urgent. They're agreed upon and they are relaxed. So, yeah, I'm noticing recently with people generally being anxious and fearful and so on, that people interrupt, they compete. Yeah. So if you feel when you're in a group talking that you need to interrupt all the time, then really you're feeling some kind of threat. Um, our desperation to express our point is all about competition. It's a time limit. You have to do it now. You have to do it quickly. And it's some kind of attention threat. I'm not getting enough attention, so therefore I have to interrupt, make my point. This is really uniquely the limited mind, the mind between our ears. It's saying, if I don't speak now, I lose my sense of belonging or respect. And yeah, it can seem to be quite aggressive sometimes and maybe bad manners. But really, we have to be compassionate because really it's only a survival reflex. So basically, your values, your inner values, which I'm always talking about, so important and precious, then they really don't drive your behavior when your nervous system is drowning, it's flooded. In other words, you have no safety. You feel you're not being noticed, you're not being listened to. So, yeah, my dear colleague Muhibaja Musi talks a lot about leadership, and she's especially keen on roundtable leadership, and I am too. But in my book, I don't think it's leadership. And round table doesn't mean when everyone talks whenever they want to. It's all about equal time and a protected structure. Yeah. So if you run a round table event, which to me is, far more preferable to a panel event, a round table event, yeah, you have to guarantee airtime. So give everybody a certain time to speak freely with no interruption. This removes the urgency and lets people relax, so they're no longer threatened. Secondly, yeah, we have to insist on one voice at a time. We're shouting against each other. That's not uh, pleasurable to listen to. The audience doesn't really enjoy that kind of fighting and aggression. So they're really in a round table event, there should be no crosstalk. Thirdly, yeah, you should share the code among your members, which is truth over winning. It's not a competitive game. It's a discussion which will edify other people, hopefully. And fourthly, your facilitator or host, yeah, the container is more important than their ego. So, in this case, I think it's really true that structure creates safety. And safety restores collaboration. So, yes, we've had over a year now of Our Way, Our Wealth. It started out as Her Way, Her Wealth, but then we got lots of men asking if they could join, or rather, if they were excluded or not. And so we changed it to Our Way, Our Wealth. After all, we are all interdependent. We're all self-reliant, but to live in a harmonized way, then we're interdependent. We depend in certain ways upon each other, in the same way that we depend on certain conditions to live, to survive. For example, we need the sun, we need water, um, we need warmth in cold climates. All of these are really basic. And so it becomes really important to make sure you're having all of these things. So, yeah, this show is really evolving. And we're going to change the title as of the 21st of February. We're going to change it to Peace and Wealth. Yeah. Peace as embodied coherence, and wealth as natural abundance lived in community. It's going to be rather exciting, our new face, because we're going to have hosts joining me every week. Dr. Marlene Greenleaf is a good friend and colleague of mine. She's a leadership coach, very experienced, very wise, and she's going to be joining me on the 21st of February. And then alternate weeks from then on. And on the 28th of February, my dear friend and colleague, Ebishila Diet-Spiff, who's a self-love coach, is going to join me. We're going to be talking about embodiment and the work that she and I are building together. So we're going to alternate between Dr. Greenleaf, who is really into peace and faith and balance. And then with Ebishila, we're going to be talking about embodiment and really working through many aspects of that each time. Oh, we've got some lovely comments here, which I can't really read, I'm afraid. I'll address them in a moment when I can read them more clearly. Okay. So, yeah, that's starting on the 21st of February. And we're going to therefore be changing lenses, different lenses, but the same destination: peace in the body and wealth in life. So, from now on, you're going to hear much more about roundtable episodes, where we give people clearer turns, calmer pacing, less debate, more embodiment. Yes, I'm an embodiment mentor, and therefore it's really important that everything we do is connected to the body. Um, and yeah, we want to create spaces where people don't have to fight to be heard. Yes, I really do believe that the container matters more than the content, because if people are interrupting and shouting at each other, then we can't really calmly cohere. We can't really understand the points they're trying to get across. So, if you have recognized yourself in the competition state today, rushing, proving, tight breath, don't worry about it. Just recalibrate it. Yeah. In my digital product, AI Mirror, 5-day challenge, embodied leadership, embodied self leadership, I beg your pardon, then I talk about a practical way to catch the limited mind and return to embodied self leadership. So the limited mind is very tricky. It will often try to trick you. We have to be really aware of that. And in my 30-minute recalibration that I offer, um, I'm leading you to a fast return to steadier ground, especially when your system is maxed, which is happening a lot with burnout and imposter syndrome and so on. So, yeah, peace and wealth, they're not goals for someday. Well, they're not really goals. They're intentions, they're states. A state of peace, a state of wealth, and nothing to do with the limited mind. They live in the nervous system where everything starts. So these are not goals, they're intentions, and really they're the natural outcome of coherence. And that is really one of the most important things. Are we coherent? Is our message clear? Are we authentic? Are we present? All of these things are involved in coherence. Yeah, so during this episode, I've talked about many things, but I think the round table is one of the most exciting ideas. That it is my dream. It really is my ideal that people become self-reliant enough, self-reliant in every way for their own happiness, for their health, for their money earning activities, and so on. Um, when people become self-reliant, really self-reliant, and cease to outsource their health, their education, blah, 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 then we're going to turn into very different human beings. We're going to be balanced. We're going to be controlled. We're going to be fully aware and awake. And then I can envisage communities, maybe small to begin with, and I certainly intend to create one, in which we can have true round table interaction. In other words, everybody will feel equal, will feel heard, will feel embraced, will feel that they are leading um, from the heart, not from the head, from the heart. No leader assigned, of course, an organizer to get it started. But once it's started, that's one little step. Then no leader, just equal people, or even a council of people who all create the community, and no rank fights. No fights at all. Everybody can be heard. It's just really a question of timing and controlling and, making sure that the ideas and the messages that people are trying to express get a chance to be aired properly. So if you are finding that in a group you want to interrupt all the time, then maybe you're threatened in some way. But it's nothing to do with your personality. It's just where you're at, and it's just that you don't yet understand the round table way, the round table protocol. You're going to be hearing a lot about this from me in coming weeks. Yeah, in some way, if you have to compulsively interrupt others, then yeah, you're scared of not being heard, and you're scared of your whole idea, your whole passion not getting enough attention. So if we're going to run really successful round table communities, then we need a proper container, we need a structure, and that structure should create safety. It's very simple, and I'm one of those creators of containers. So from now on, all my discussions are going to be roundtable discussions, and we're going to make sure that everybody has their say and everybody feels they've had their say and they've got enough attention. Of course, after the meeting, they can continue to discuss or whatever. But in public meetings, especially when there is an audience attending, we need to make sure there's a good container so that everyone is represented. So, yeah, the roundtable protocol. I'm going to be really pushing that this week. And I think this is a reflection of how we should live. If we are safe, if we are grounded, if we are embodied, we're not worried about not being heard. That is a kind of desperation, a kind of urgency that is one of the hallmarks of the limited mind. Attention seeking, pushing, bullying, these all come from the limited mind. The body, on the other hand, is not limited, and therefore it really doesn't care if it's unheard. We can hear in many ways, not just intellectually and through the ears. We can hear through the whole body via vibrations. And so we are all being heard. Our vibrations are all being detected and blended. So I hope that's inspiring Um, Basically, we have to live in harmony, and we have to make sure, in the next decade or so, with AI ascending, that we are really enhanced humans, basically good, kind beings who live peaceably, who live happily and beautifully. We're not rushing and clutching and grabbing and ambushing and all of these desperation measures. We are comfortable in our own skin. Would love to hear your questions and comments. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll be back next week. And then the week after that, we'll start our new podcast, which will be called Peace and Wealth. Thank you so much for attending today, and I look forward to talking to you again next week. This is Linden Thorp of Our World, Our Wealth. Bye for now.